open to the first clean page in your notebook. And at the top, you should have it titled Wonder Part 8, Chapters 1 through 6. And then today's date, December 3rd, 2020. And then, of course, we will start with number 1. We have 3 words today. Ethan, are you ready to do 3 words? Okay. Don't let me forget to give you the cards. So, Ethan, these will all be your words. The first word is the word yeah, sure. Repelled. Make sure you're spelling everything correctly, but you're going to do all 3. So you don't have to star them, but you can if you like. Repelled. R-A-P-P-E-L-L-E-D. Repelled. Ooh, wait. Take off. Sorry. Just take off LED, because we're going to make this the present tense verb. We hear it in the story in the past tense, but we're going to define it in the present tense, because remember we talked about yesterday how dictionaries, like our glossaries, even though you may see it in the past tense in the book, or maybe the plural form in the actual lesson, in the dictionary it's always going to give you the singular form of nouns and the present tense form of verbs. So we're going to use the present tense. So the word is repel. It does only have one L. So repel, R-A-P-P-E-L. Repel, R-A-P-P-E-L. It is a verb. It is an action. It is something you do. You repel. And it means to climb a steep incline using ropes. So if you've ever been to Memphis Rocks and they've connected you to the ropes and you climb up the wall, that you have rappelled before. Or if you've been to that High Point place. So if you've been to one of those places where they hook you into ropes and you climb up a rock wall, you have rappelled before. You have done this. So rappel is a verb, and it means to climb a steep incline using ropes. That is the actual technical term for what you're doing if you go to Memphis Rocks or you go to that High Point place. Yes?
Smith actually had her birthday party at one of those places.
Yeah, so you have done that before, but only if they hook you into the ropes.
Yes.
If you just climbed without the ropes, that's actually something different. But to rappel is when you're hooked into the ropes. Okay, oh, here it is in context. So be listening. Who is doing this? Where are they doing this? Why are they doing this? In context, we went horseback riding in the morning, and in the afternoon, we rappelled up some ginormous trees with the help of the nature guides. So can you only rappel up a rock wall? No. Anything tall. Some people might rappel up a building. I've seen that happen. Or a tree, as in this case. A rock wall, an actual mountain. All kinds of things. A ship, for some reason. Yes, Mason.
Those people who clean the windows on buildings.
Yes, they do. They do actually. Well, they are connected to ropes. Yes. So yeah. Yes. Quickly. Yeah, we could. Probably not on a wall in here, but like the side of a building. Yeah. Okay, because it's a steep incline. This isn't really, it's steep, but it's not really that high. Okay, but the outside of the building somebody could rappel on. Number 2 is the word sliver. Make sure you are writing the word sliver and not the word silver. The L comes before the I. In the word silver, the L comes after the I. So sliver, S-L-I-V-E-R. Also make sure you're not writing the word slither. It's sliver. S-L-I-V-E-R, sliver. This is not what a snake does. That is the word slither. Slither is a noun. I've said it so many times, it doesn't sound like a word anymore. Sliver is a noun, and it is a skinny piece of something. So if you drop a piece of glass, it might break into slivers. That's where it breaks into those skinny little pieces. Or you've probably heard your parents say, somebody has cake and they say, just give me a sliver. They just want a skinny little piece. So if you're on a diet, but you still want cake, you may say, just give me a sliver. Just a skinny little piece. Yes?
What do you mean by that? Like, what you just said about the cake?
Mm-hmm.
Would it be like paper, just like silk?
Not that thin, but because then it wouldn't really be. But like if you have a cake, this is looking at the cake from the top. A normal sized piece might look like that. Like if you have a big, if this is a big cake. But if you want a sliver, you really only want like that much.
Oh.
Okay, so this would be a sliver. Just a skinny little piece. Yes, Zari.
Do you want to demonstrate with the real cake?
I wish. I would not mind. I would give all of you slivers and I would eat the rest. Okay. So here it is in context. Do you really think you deserve more than a sliver?
No.
Okay. Here it is in context. So be listening. What are they? Slivers of what? Why are they talking about? Why is it in slivers? Why is it not a full piece or a big piece of whatever it is? It's not that I haven't seen nice sunsets before in the city, because I have. Slivers of sunsets between buildings. But I wasn't used to seeing so much sky in every direction. Number 3 is the word applaud. Applaud. A-P-P-L-A-U-D. Applaud. A-P-P-L-A-U-D. Applaud. It is a verb. It's another action. Something you actually do. Yes, Sadie?
Did you hear that word in yesterday, when we read yesterday?
I think we might have heard, or we might have heard applause, which is a similar word. Applause is a noun. When you create applause, you applaud. They mean the same thing, but applaud is when you're actually doing that thing. Applause is basically what you create when you do it. And you'll see what I mean in just a second. Applaud means to show approval or excitement by clapping. So when you applaud, you're doing this. This is an applause. What we are doing right now is an applause. When we clap, when we applaud, we create applause. So when we heard it yesterday, It was after the play, everybody was giving them applause. So everybody was applauding. They were showing approval by clapping. So they created applause. So does everybody understand the difference between applaud, which is the verb, it's the act of doing that thing. Applause is what you create by applauding. Okay, now I'm going to read it. Here it is in context. Oh, here, a synonym, we can do a synonym, is to clap. But which one's a more interesting word if you were writing and trying to make people really interested? Is it more interesting to say clapping or applauding? Mason?
Applaud.
Applauding. It's a more interesting word. The less we hear a word, the more interesting it becomes, as long as you know what it means. That's the whole point of this vocabulary. Okay, here it is in context. Everyone in the field started applauding and cheering like something great had happened. So as you're reading, you're figuring out, why are they applauding right now? What happened that made them applaud? Who is applauding? Where are they? Okay, that's all the words. Anybody need me to spell anything? Ethan, you need me to spell anything? Do you have everything?
Yes.
Okay, once you're done and you are sure that every single letter, word, punctuation mark, space matches, then you may put your vocab notebook away and get in your good listening position. Okay, you should be in your good listening position. Open to page 249. Everybody should be in their good listening position. Open to page 249 with their finger ready to follow along with part 8, August. Why does each of these parts have a person's name before it? What are they telling us? Michaela?
That they're going to be talking.
They're the ones, it's from their perspective. That means that is the person who is the narrator. So right now, who is the narrator for the rest of the book? Mason?
August.
August. Who was the narrator of the last part? Part 7. Ethan? Miranda. Who remembers who the narrator of part 6 was? Zadie?
Just.
Not Justin. Colin?
Via.
Not Via. Victoria?
August.
August. Who was the narrator of part 5? Mason?
Justin.
Justin. Who was the narrator of part 4? Smith?
Via.
Not Via. Ethan?
Some.
Not Summer. Colin?
Jack Will.
Jack Will. Who was the narrator of part 3? Michaela?
Via.
Not Via. Ethan?
Summer.
Summer. Who was the narrator of part 2? Smith?
Via.
Via. And who was the narrator of part 1? Mason?
August.
August. Okay, so now we're back to August. We've gone full circle. Part 8, August. You're gonna reach the sky. Fly, beautiful child. That's from the song Beautiful Child by the Eurythmics. Make sure you're following along with your finger or your pencil. Chapter 1, the 5th grade nature retreat. Every year in the spring, the 5th graders of Beecher Prep go away for 3 days and 2 nights to a place called the Broarwood Nature Reserve in Pennsylvania. It's a 4-hour bus drive away. The kids sleep in cabins with bunk beds. There are campfires and s'mores and long walks through the woods. The teachers have been prepping us about this all year long, so all the kids in the grade are excited about it, except for me. And it's not even that I'm not excited, because I kind of am. It's just I've never slept away from home before, and I'm kind of nervous. Most kids have had sleepovers by the time they're my age. A lot of kids have gone to sleepaway camps, or stayed with their grandparents, or whatever. Not me.
not unless you include hospital stays. But even then, Mom or Dad always stayed with me overnight. But I never slept over at Tata and Papa's house, or Aunt Kate and Uncle Poe's house. When I was really little, that was mainly because there were too many medical issues, like my trach tube needed to be cleared every hour, or reinserting my feeding tube if it got detached. But when I got bigger, I just never felt like sleeping anywhere else. There was one time when I half slept over at Christopher's house. We were about 8 and we were still best friends. Our family had gone for a visit to his house, and me and Christopher were having such a great time playing Lego Star Wars that I didn't want to leave when it was time to go. We were like, please, please, can we have a sleepover? So our parents said yes, and Mom and Dad and Via drove home. And me and Christopher stayed up till midnight playing until Lisa, his mom, said, okay guys, time to go to bed. Well, that's when I kind of panicked a bit. Lisa tried to help me go to sleep, but I just started crying that I wanted to go home. So at 1 a.m., Lisa called Mom and Dad drove all the way back to Bridgeport to pick me up. We didn't get home until 3 a.m., so my one and only sleepover up until now was pretty much a disaster, which is why I'm a little nervous about the nature retreat. On the other hand, I'm really excited. Who's ever experienced that? Have you ever been to somebody's house and you were going to sleep over and then in the middle of the night you're like, I can't do this? Some people have it. That never happened to me, but it did happen to one of my friends when I was there. But it's okay. We all have it sometimes. Chapter 2, Known For. I asked Mom to buy me a new rolling duffel bag because my old one had Star Wars stuff on it, and there was no way I was going to take that to the 5th grade nature retreat. As much as I love Star Wars, I don't want that to be what I'm known for. Everyone's known for something in middle school. Like Reed is known for really being into marine life and the oceans and things like that. And Amos is known for being a really good baseball player. And Charlotte is known for having been in a TV commercial when she was 6. And Zamina is known for being really smart. My point is that in middle school, you kind of get known for what you're into, and you have to be careful about stuff like that. Like Max G and Max W will never live down their Dungeons and Dragons obsession. So I was actually trying to ease out of the whole Star Wars thing a bit. I mean, it'll always be special to me, like it is with the doctor who put in my hearing aids. It's just not the thing I wanted to be known for in middle school. I'm not sure what I want to be known for, but it's not that. That's not exactly true. I do know what I'm really known for. But there's nothing I can do about that. A Star Wars duffel bag, I could do something about. What is he talking about? What is he really known for? Zari?
His face.
His face. Very good. We've talked about something like this before. Who remembers when we talked about something like this before? Which character was it? It was a while back. Mason, you might not have been here yet when we read that part. Who was it? Somebody else was talking about being known for things, and this character did not want to be known for a certain thing. This character had been for a really long time, and now they were like, I can change this. I don't want to be known for this anymore. Zari.
I think it was Via.
And what was it? It was Via. It was back when she was talking. What had she been known for forever and ever and ever? And she didn't want to be known for this anymore. Zadie?
Being August's sister.
Being August's sister. So we've actually talked about this before. So Via and August, do you think they've ever talked to each other about these things? No, but they both feel it. So we all feel things like this. Chapter 3, Packing. Mom helped me pack the night before the big trip. We put all the clothes I was taking on my bed, and she folded everything neatly and put it inside the bag while I watched. It was a plain blue rolling duffel bag. By the way, no logos or artwork. What if I can't sleep at night? I asked. Take a book with you. Then, if you can't sleep, you can pull out your flashlight and read for a bit until you get sleepy, she answered. I nodded. What if I have a nightmare? Your teachers will be there, sweetie, she said, and Jack, and your friends. I can bring Baboo, I said. That was my favorite stuffed animal when I was little. A small black bear with a soft black nose. You don't really sleep with him anymore, do you? Said Mom. No, but I keep him in my closet in case I wake up in the middle of the night and can't get back to sleep, I said. I could hide him in my bag. No one would know. Then let's do that, Mom nodded, getting Baboo from inside my closet. I wish they allowed cell phones, I said. I know, me too, she said. Though I know you're going to have a great time, Augie. You sure you want to pack Baboo? Yeah, but way down where no one can see him, I said. She stuck Baboo deep inside the bag and then stuffed the last of my t-shirts on top of him. So many clothes for just 2 days. 3 days and 2 nights, I corrected her. Yep, she nodded, smiling. 3 days and 2 nights. She zipped up the duffel bag and picked it up. Not too heavy. Try it. I picked up the bag. Fine, I shrugged. She sat on the bag. Hey, what happened to your Empire Strikes Back poster? Oh, I took that down ages ago, I answered. She shook her head. Huh, I didn't notice that before. I'm trying to, change my image a bit, I explained. Okay, she smiled, nodding like she understood. Anyway, honey, you have to promise me you won't forget to put on the bug spray, okay? On the legs, especially when you're hiking through the woods. It's right here in the front compartment. Uh-huh. And put on your sunscreen, she said. You do not want to get a sunburn, and I don't. I repeat, do not forget to take your hearing aids off if you go swimming. Would I get electrocuted? No, but you'd be in real hot water with Daddy because those things cost a fortune, she laughed. I put the rain poncho in the front compartment too. Same thing goes if it rains, Augie, okay? Make sure you cover the hearing aids with the hood. Aye, aye, sir, I said, saluting. She smiled and pulled me over. I can't believe how much you've grown up this year, Augie, she said softly, putting her hands on the side of my face. Do I look taller? Definitely, she nodded. I'm still the shortest one in my grade. I'm not really even talking about your height, she said. Suppose I hate it there. You're gonna have a great time, Augie. I nodded. She got up and gave me a quick kiss on the forehead. Okay, so I say we get to bed now. It's only 9 o'clock, Mom. Your bus leaves at 6 a.m. tomorrow. You don't want to be late. Come on, chop chop. Your teeth are brushed? I nodded and climbed into bed. She started to lie down next to me. You don't need to put me to bed tonight, Mom, I said. I'll read on my own till I get sleepy. Really? She nodded, impressed. She squeezed my hand and gave it a kiss. Okay then. Good night, love. Have sweet dreams. You too. She turned on the little reading light beside the bed. I'll write you letters, I said as she was leaving, even though I'll probably be home before you guys even get them. Then we can read them together, she said, and threw me a kiss. When she left my room, I took my copy of The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe off the night table and started reading until I fell asleep. Though the witch knew the deep magic, there is a magic deeper still which she did not know. Her knowledge goes back only to the dawn of time. But if she could have looked a little further back into the stillness and the darkness before time dawned, she would have read there a different incantation. Chapter 4. Daybreak. Make sure you're still in your good listening position. If you're not, go ahead and get yourself back into your good listening position. That includes scooting your chair up. Chapter 4. Daybreak. The next day, I woke up really early. It was still dark inside my room and even darker outside, though I knew it would be morning soon. I turned over on my side, but didn't feel at all sleepy. That's when I saw Daisy sitting near my bed. I knew it wasn't Daisy, but for a second, I saw a shadow that looked just like her. I didn't think it was a dream then, but now, looking back, I know it must have been. It didn't make me sad to see her at all. It just filled me up with nice feelings inside. She was gone after a second, and I couldn't see her again in the darkness. The room slowly started lightening. I reached for my hearing aid headband and put it on, and now the world was really awake. Sure you're sitting up. Eyes on the belt. I could hear the garbage trucks clunking down the street and the birds in our backyard. And down the hallway, I heard Mom's alarm beeping. Daisy's ghost made me feel super strong inside, knowing wherever I am, she'd be there with me. I got up out of the bed and went to my desk and wrote a little note to Mom. Then I went into the living room where my packed bag was by the door. I opened it up and fished inside until I found what I was looking for. I took Baboo back to my room and I laid him in my bed and taped the little note to Mom on his chest. And then I covered him with my blanket so Mom would find him later. The note read, "Dear Mom, I won't need Baboo, but if you miss me, you can cuddle with him yourself. XO, Augie." Chapter 5. Day 1. The bus ride went really fast. I sat by the window and Jack was next to me in the aisle seat. Summer and Maya were in front of us. Everyone was in a good mood. Kind of loud, laughing a lot. I noticed right away that Julian wasn't on our bus, even though Henry and Miles were. I figured he must be on the other bus, but then I overheard Miles tell Amos that Julian ditched the grade trip because he thought the whole nature retreat thing was quote unquote dorky. I got totally pumped because dealing with Julian for 3 days in a row and 2 nights was a major reason that I was nervous about this whole trip. So now, without him there, I could really just relax and not worry about anything. We got to the nature reserve at around noon. The first thing we did was put our stuff down in the cabins. There were 3 bunk beds to every room. So me and Jack did rock, paper, scissors for the top bunk, and I won. Woohoo! And the other guys in the room were Reed and Tristan, and Pablo and Nino. After we had lunch in the main cabin, we all went on a 2-hour guided nature hike through the woods. But these were not woods like the kind they have in Central Park. These were real woods. Like the kind that, giant trees that almost totally blocked out the sunlight. Tangles of leaves and fallen trunks. Howls and chirps and really loud bird calls. There was a slight fog too, like a pale blue smoke all around us. So cool. The nature guide pointed everything out to us. The different types of trees we were passing, the insects inside the dead logs on the trail, the signs of deer and bears in the woods, what types of birds were whistling, and where to look for them. I realized that my Lobot hearing aids actually made me hear better than most people, because I was usually the first person to hear a new bird call. Make sure you're following along. It started to rain as we headed back to camp. I pulled on my rain poncho and pulled the hood up so my hearing aids wouldn't get wet. But my jeans and shoes got soaked by the time we reached our cabins. Everyone got soaked. It was fun though. We had a wet sock fight in the cabin. Since it rained for the rest of the day, we spent most of the afternoon goofing off in the rec room. They had a ping pong table and old-style arcade games like Pac-Man and Missile Command that we played until dinner time. Luckily, by then it had stopped raining, so we got to have a real campfire cookout. The log benches around the campfire were still a little damp, but we threw our jackets over them and hung out by the fire, toasting s'mores and eating the best roasted hot dogs I had ever tasted. Mom was right about the mosquitoes. There were tons of them. But luckily, I had spritzed myself before I left the cabin, and I wasn't eaten alive like some of the other kids were. I loved hanging out by the campfire after dark. I loved the way bits of fire dust would float up and disappear into the night air, and how the fire lit up people's faces. I loved the sound the fire made too, and how the woods were so dark that you couldn't see anything around you, and you'd look up and see 1 billion stars in the sky. The sky doesn't look like that in North River Heights. I've seen it look like that in Montauk, though, like someone sprinkled salt on a shiny black table. I was so tired when I got back to the cabin that I didn't need to pull out the book to read. I fell asleep almost as fast as my head hit the pillow. And maybe I dreamed about the stars. I don't know. Chapter 6, The Fairgrounds. The next day was just as great as the first day. We went horseback riding in the morning, and in the afternoon, we rappelled up some ginormous trees with the help of the nature guides. By the time we got back to the cabins for dinner, we were all really tired again. After dinner, they told us we had an hour to rest, and then we were going to take a 15-minute bus ride to the fairgrounds for an outdoor movie night. I hadn't had the chance to write a letter to Mom and Dad and Via yet, so I wrote one telling them all about the stuff we did that day and the day before. I pictured myself reading it to them out loud when I got back, since there was just no way the letter would get home before I did. When we got to the fairgrounds, the sun was just starting to set. It was about 7:30. The shadows were really long on the grass, and the clouds were pink and orange. It looked like someone had taken sidewalk chalk and smudged the colors across the sky with their fingers. It's not that I haven't seen nice sunsets before in the city, because I have. Slivers of sunsets between buildings. But I wasn't used to seeing so much sky in every direction. Out here in the fairgrounds, I could understand why ancient people used to think the world was flat and the sky was a dome that closed in on top of it. That's what it looked like from the fairgrounds, in the middle of this huge open field. Because we were the first school to arrive, we got to run around the field all we wanted until the teachers told us it was time to lay out our sleeping bags on the ground and get good viewing seats. We unzipped our bags and laid them down like picnic blankets on the grass in front of the giant movie screen in the middle of the field. Then we went to the row of food trucks parked at the edge of the field to load up on snacks and sodas and stuff like that. There were concession stands there too, like at a farmer's market, selling roasted peanuts and cotton candy. And up a little farther was a short row of carnival-type stalls, the kind where you can win a stuffed animal if you throw a baseball into a basket. That's right. Jack and I both tried, and failed, to win anything. But we heard Amos won a yellow hippo and gave it to Zemina. That was the big gossip that went around, the jock and the brainiac. From the food trucks, you could see the corn stalks in the back of the movie screen. They covered about a third of the entire field. The rest of the field was completely surrounded by woods. As the sun sank lower in the sky, the tall trees at the entrance to the woods looked dark blue. Carla, make sure you're following along. By the time the other school buses pulled into the parking lots, we were back in our spots on the sleeping bags, right smack in front of the screen, the best seats in the whole field. Everyone was passing around snacks and having a great time. Me and Jack and Summer and Reed and Maya played Pictionary. We could hear the sounds of the other schools arriving, the loud laughing and talking of kids coming out on the field on both sides of us. But we couldn't really see them. Though the sky was still light, the sun had gone down completely, and everything on the ground had turned deep purple. The clouds were shadows now. We had trouble even seeing the Pictionary cards in front of us. Just then, without any announcement, all the lights at the ends of the field went on at once. They were like big, bright stadium lights. I thought of that scene in Close Encounters when the alien ship lands and they're playing that music. I don't know what it sounds like. Everyone in the field started applauding and cheering like something great had just happened. Okay. Who heard rappel? Michaela.
I heard it when they were going up the tree, I don't know the name, tree.
Very good. So they were going up those trees. They were climbing up the trees. So they had ropes. The guides were helping them. They had ropes. And they were climbing up these really tall trees. Very good. Why were they climbing trees? That's where you make inferences. Does it ever say they climbed the trees because blah, 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 blah? We'll make an inference. Why were they climbing the trees? Zari.
Because that was part of, I'm guessing that was part of the thing that they were supposed to do during the little thing.
During the what?
the camp out.
They camp out, the nature retreat, and trees are part of nature. So of course, if there's really big trees and you're on a nature retreat and you're a kid, you might climb them. Good. Who heard sliver? Smith.
August was talking about how he had never seen a sunset as big as the one he saw in the woods, and he only saw a sliver of it where he lives.
Why? Very good. Why did he only see slivers of sunset where he lives? Why did he never see the whole sunset? Zadie?
Because when you live in a city, usually there's a bunch of buildings blocking it, so there's just little slivers where you can see.
Good. Especially a big, massive city like New York City. Think of pictures, or if you've ever been to New York City. There are massive, massive buildings all over the place. So unless you're in the exact right spot, you're really not going to be able to see a whole sunset. You'll just see pieces of it, which is cool too, but in a different way. Okay, who heard applaud? Victoria.
I heard it when August said that the lights went on.
Where were they?
They were at this big field where they were gonna play this movie, and they were filling up with snacks and passing around and having fun. And when the lights came on, everybody started to laugh and applaud.
Why do you think they started applauding because the lights came on?
Because then
Somebody else. Cullen?
Because that's probably when the movie was fixing to start.
Because then they thought that meant the movie was about to start. Because think about when you're at a movie theater and all of a sudden, well, the lights are on. It's just a little different. But the lights are on at the movie theater and then they turn off. What do you know is about to happen? Mason? The movie's about to start. Or if you're going to a concert and they turn all the lights off. You do who's ever been to a concert before? When they turned the lights off before it started, what happened? What did everybody start to do? You can show me. They started to applaud and cheer because they knew what was about to happen. You knew what was about to happen. Michaela? The concert was about to start. Okay, very good. Okay, so everybody should have the title, Wonder, Part 8, Chapters 1 through 6. And today's date, December 3rd, 2020 at the top, and your notebook should be closed while we talk about the questions. Make sure you're listening and following along so you understand exactly the type of answer I'm looking for. Number 1, what was August's only sleepover experience before the 5th grade nature retreat like? The answer to that question is text evidence. It's in the text exactly what happened. But if you want to have a really good answer, you would also make inferences as to why this happened. Because does August ever actually say why his sleepover ended the way it did? Not really. So then you could make an inference to say why this happened. Text evidence tells you what happened. Making an inference, you can say why it happened. Number 2, do you agree that people are known for something at school? That's an opinion. Do you agree that yes, people are known for something, or no, I don't? Do you think that what a person is known for is important? Again, opinion. So if somebody is known for something, a certain thing, is that important? And then the last 2 parts, do you think you are known for anything? What is it? So that's again an opinion. What do you think you are known for? Most of you don't just say, I'm not known for anything, because you don't feel like saying what it is. You're probably known for something. So what do you think it is that you're known for, and why do you think you're known for that? Number 3, why does August pack Babu? Now that's a little bit of text evidence mixed with some making inferences. Because the text does say a little bit about why, but I want you to tell me a little more. Tell me a little more than what the book tells us. You can do that because you'll make an inference. Think about your experiences, the experiences of people you know, August's experience, and put that all together into the rest of the answer. Number 4, what does August see when he first wakes up the morning of the trip? How does this make him feel? This is text evidence. To add making an inference and make a really good answer, you can say, why does it make him feel the way it does?
The book doesn't say why it makes him feel the way it does. That would be making an inference, but that will help you to come up with a really good answer if you include that. Number 5, explain what August does with Babu. Why do you think he does this? Well, the first part of that question is text evidence. The book tells us exactly what happens. Do you copy directly from the book? What happens? No. Zari, I'm speaking, so your hand should not be up. The next part, why do you think he does this, is making an inference. It doesn't really say why he does that. So it's kind of making an inference mixed with your opinion, because it says, why do you think he does this? Sometimes when we make an inference, it is an opinion. But it's different because you actually have to use what happens in the story and the information you know about that character to make that opinion. You can't just make it out of nowhere. Number 6, summarize day 1 of the retreat. So in your own words, what happens that very first day of the retreat? I see a lot of people that are not listening to me, and it's going to show when you answer your questions and you have no idea what you're talking about. So number 6, in your own words, what happens on the first day of the retreat? If you tell me what happens on the second day, are you going to be correct? No, it says day 1. So make sure you're only including details from day 1 in your own words. Do you copy from the textbook for any questions ever? No, always use your own words. Number 7, in detail, describe the setting of the fairgrounds. So that means the setting. That's the setting. That's where that part takes place. Describe it in detail. Include how you imagine the sight, what you see, sound, what you hear, smell, what you smell, taste, what you might taste, and feel of the setting. That means, like, how does it actually feel, both in your mind and in real life? Like, how does it feel? Is it really, really hot? You have to take your jacket off. Whatever. Any questions about the questions? Ooh. We're not going to have time. Unless we can pack up quickly. Can we pack up quickly? We're going to have to. Okay, quick. Zadie, what's your question?
And actually, if you actually copy something word from the book, it's not. I'm pretty sure it's not legal.
It's not legal. It's called plagiarism, and it's actually not legal. Like, it is illegal. So if I turned you in, you might get in big trouble, or your parents might, since you're kids. Zari, quickly.
Some of the stuff that you have on there that we really need to write down is not on our sheet of paper.
Smith?
Zari, does yours say part 6? Because mine got printed wrong, so it had part 6 questions, but then my dad reprinted it for part 8. So that might be it.
That's what happened, but it's still the same. It's still the same.
Carla, what's your question?
I am messaging my granddad on my message, just to let you know.
Okay. Smith, do you have the same words? The same questions I do?
Yes, I do now. At first I didn't.
Okay.
So I was confused.